Reminder, this meeting is recorded for future viewing. And now, welcome to the April 2nd Water Commissioners meeting. Now we're going to motion to accept Alexa Monk's minutes. Move. All right, all in favor? All right. Well, it takes care of that one. Appointments, none. Correspondence, 8 Hamlin Street, fees.
So we got read you. They sent this letter in. They wanted to ask the board about diminishing the fees to what we had our 2021 proposal. Said that the proposal we sent to them, they signed, sent back, or said they sent back. We never signed it. I don't believe we ever received it. That being said, also, it's the original proposal had 36 months to respond or to start, and it's obviously well beyond the 36 months.
Thanks, Dave. Just to introduce myself, my name's Sarah Steiner with the Economic Development Group. So I wrote the letter. So I had a chance to read it. With any questions, let me know. What we're really trying to do is get this project off the ground. It's a large project within the MBTA overlay growth zone. And we're just trying to work out the way to make the project as feasible as possible. And it's a single 6-inch meter rather than multiple connections with a water department.
Yeah, and the board has my response, Mike.
So let's take a page of that. Yeah. In fact, I was just going to ask for input from Matt and Adam on this.
Yeah, he was looking in true. That's happening.
Yep.
Unfortunately, I don't think the board can, waive what they're asking. Basically precedent's already been set with other subdivisions that have had the same issue. Specifically, recently there was McGill's project on Providence Road, the Alfonso Village on Institute. There's 2 projects on Upton Street right now that they've been working on for over 2 years, and they're in the same situation with the the fees have changed in between when they've submitted and, now, and basically, everybody understands that we, need to do capital projects to supply the water to these projects. And, we have about $53 million worth of capital projects ahead of us right now.
So Matt, just to clarify, they applied back in 21, and was a payment made on that?
Yeah, the $6,000.
There it is. Sorry, I'm late. All right, and then you guys did nothing with it.
What we did is just put in that one connection. The reason that had to be put in part was because of the Job Corp site. So we moved that 10-inch existing line and put the new T and 10-inch line in for this proposed development. So part of the water line work was installed, which is why that $6,000 connection fee was paid. And now it has been sitting since then.
And now basically the permits have expired, Matt?
Yeah, basically what happened was they went to demolish the building. The problem was the water main for the Job Corps went right through the basement of the building. So they could not demolish the building until they moved the water mains. So they basically moved the water main, put in a new meter pit. They had the connection to our main, which requires a $6,000 fee, which we charged them. Since that point, there's been nothing done. Like I said, although they have original signed document, we have no record of all me signing the document. Typically, if I sign the document, it would I give it to the front office. They create a folder, assign all the account numbers. We have no record of any of that.
So no extension letters, no nothing.
No, nothing. And even with the 36 months, I mean, we don't give anybody over a year now, just because of this. And even in the agreement, they didn't request an extension. So, far as I'm concerned, unfortunately for them, I wouldn't recommend that we waive any of the current fees, and they need to reapply. So.
And I know the people that, doing the 27 Upton Street,
That's
the old
me.
highway garage. Yeah. I know that somebody came in like a year ago and asked the exact same question is, can we get the fees lowered because, we can't do this project with the fees being what they are. And obviously they're going to have the project down. So, but like I said, if we do it for one,
Yeah, do
the
it
next
all.
project
Yeah.
that comes along, well, you did it for them, you have to do it for us.
I mean, this is a big project too. This is 300 and something units. So, and our fees are designed per unit, they're not the size of the meter coming in. So I know they were requested to use the fee, but that's for a commercial facility fee, residential.
That's true about, what you're saying. And the reason we're looking at it that way is because it's 1 6-inch line and 1 6-inch meter. So the, amount of load on the water district administratively, it's significantly less 1 6-inch meter than, if you had a series of 6-unit buildings at each other own meter, which would be charged at the same multifamily rate. So in addition, a lot of these units are studios and single bedrooms. So the water load is significantly less than a typical, say, 4-bedroom home where the family spends more time there than an individual renting a 1-bedroom or a studio.
Right. But that's why we, a few years ago, changed our specific for this kind of use to base it upon the bedrooms, understanding that they were lower. Our single family home rate is $10,000, and our 1 to 2 bedroom is significantly less, almost half of that. So we take that into consideration. It's really the demand on the system. We have 300 and something units. Everybody gets up in the morning, starts showering, flushing. Not only do we have to supply water, but we have to supply that demand. And, these rates have been looked at. And, it's the precedent's been set. It's just if the board were to go outside of that, I think they're just creating a firestorm. So.
One of the questions I have is there are a lot more multifamilies coming to us. And my fear is if we start going off of the published rates and policies, it's going to open a Pandora's box for everybody else coming down the line. Like Matt said, these rates were thoroughly examined and given a lot of thought about, how it's actually used, what the demands are. And we also have to weigh that against the fact that, connection fees are basically earmarked towards system improvements, and we have a huge amount of system improvements on the way. My most troubling thing is that, if we do a special case for one particular development, are we going to have special cases all the way down the rest of the line? And I'm not up.
No,
Yeah,
you-
the $6,000 for the connection fee was completed by the district. That is paid for. The lack of due diligence on their part, they're asking us now to cut the fees. That doesn't seem reasonable to me. If they had wanted to have a consideration, it should have been back when we did the work we did, which they paid for. Now they want to open it up again, then you got new fees. There are established fees in view of where we are financially now and in the future. And that's what they have to deal with. So I would move that we deny their request.
I second. All right, we have a motion on the table, deny request. All in favor? Thank you. So move.
I do appreciate your consideration on your time.
Oh, no, thank you. It's just, yeah. Again, we have a lot of projects, we have a lot of improvements, so we're gonna just kind of help stick with our course that we have right now.
Okay, not all. Understood. But like I said.
But thank you for your time. Thank you. Thank you. Have a good day. You too. Thank you.
See you.
Very good report.
Wow. For March, we had an opening balance of 2,742,000. We had receipts of 118,000, disbursements of 820,000. We had a closing balance of 2,042,000. I just want to draw your attention that disbursements of 820 are high because, we did the checks dated the 31st, 447 right there that it's captured in March, so it looks high.
So skip the second by a day. Or hit the second by a day.
Well, because our meeting's so literally each month with that, so we share to.
Understood.
So page 2, revenue, 9 months ended on 3/31 for this fiscal year, 3,068,502. The last year is 2,609,963. Operating expenses this year, 2,125,730. The last year, 1,581,663. Interest income, 65,375 this year. Last year, 105,458. Net income, 993,754. The last year's 1,105,371. Water revenue only, 2,329,507. The last year, 2,070,539. Connection fees, 668,600. The last year is 484,200. We rated capital expenditures, system improvements, 218,292 out of the 325,000. Vehicle, 0 out of the 75,000. Pigeon Hill tank and booster, $1,890,001 of the 1.7 million approved. Engineering future PFAS treatment plant, 648,716 out of 250,000. Professional services, Caroline Drive and Foliot, 13,427 out of a 50. Worcester Street East SRF, 404,405 out of the 23 million. With Trinity Foliot SRF, 5,889 out of the 33,928,000. Cash accounts. And you might should it. And then DT, 1,843,725. Union Bank Depository, 439,765. Union Pay, 112,102. Payroll, 48,171. Debit card, 6,683. Vendor, 408,577. That's only showing that because I haven't funded it yet, but it will be funded soon. For a total of 2,041,949. Then the reserve for the OPEX, some at 40,785. So we have a ending balance of 2,682,734.
Motion on the treasury report. Second, all in favor? Aye. Wait. Thank you. All right, district council correspondence none, SPC report. Matt?
Actually, Dave, you could probably tell them about Mary because she did send that.
Yeah, so think it was a letter of marriage. She's retiring as of June 30th, 2025.
Ooh.
So she's going to obviously stay on to them. And then Matt has been looking into other options for us for attorneys.
Yeah, I reached out to South Grafton, Auburn Water District, and West Boylston Water District, and coincidentally, they all use the same firm, American O'Connell in Worcester, and use the same gentleman, Thomas Baker. So I reached out to him and asked him if he would, be open to being our attorney. He checked in house to make sure he didn't have any conflicts with us being sued by one of his clients or something like that. And he said that no lawsuits against us, and they're not representing anybody that's having anything to do against us. So he's going to send out a portfolio and probably come to the May meeting, if that's all right, to kind of introduce himself, and you guys can, talk to him about his services. So if you're on board with that, I can set that up. So.
I mean, that's fine by me, Matt. I mean, Merrick does a ton of work for municipalities and municipal type organizations. So I've got no problem with that. My concern is, how much is he gonna cost us?
Well, he's going to cost us a lot more than Mary ever did.
That's fine.
And I've told you that for the last 2 years. However, he's reasonable. I did talk to West Boylston, who used them for over 23 years, the same gentleman basically, and in Auburn. They are affordable. They're like every attorney. If you want to talk to them, they're going to bill you more. So you just got to be cautious in what you ask them to do and make sure that, you have handles on the reins, so to speak. But he's, the important thing was he's very well aware of what districts do. And that's who we want. And we'll have him come in, see if that's what you want.
Also, at the annual meeting, I'm thinking I'll give her some flowers or a plant, something.
Yeah.
Give it to her.
Definitely.
After.
Yep.
Up to or after.
Under $50, right? Yeah.
$49.90.
You're wise at last. We give the steak dinners for $38.
Yeah, the 99.
Appreciate the rest.
Okay, I'll go through my stuff quick. This working with the state, they're not going to give us a long-term temporary solution to Follette Street. They'd like to review our whole Water Management Act permit in a whole, look at all of our pumpage and calculations. So we did get a letter from them requesting additional information. We have 90 days to respond to that. A lot of the information is way over my head. So we have hired Tater and Howard to look at those questions. They're more experts at knowing what to respond and how to respond, because a lot of it affects, our permit conditions, the amount we can pump. So we're in the evaluation stage of seeing where that goes. They are positive about it. Let me put it that way. So the state, that is. So right now they have no problem with what we're pumping. So it's not a concern. That covers let's see, Planning Board and Conservation. We both received their final documents, and they'll be recorded momentarily. They're in the hands of Ty and Bond. The pilot study at Trinity has started. Their first, if I get this correct, the first test is a week or two. We're pumping at full capacity right now. Then they're going to evaluate that data and come back with another round of tests, which will be about 3 months plus or minus, depending on how it goes.
If they're pumping at full capacity, is that going into the system or is it waste?
No, we're filling up the river.
Actually, the 2 weeks too, just so that's 2 weeks ends today. So we'll be actually shutting it down today.
And the iron and manganese isn't that bad. We've taken some samples ourselves, but when they add the chemicals to it, because they have a trailer down there, they are seeing the brown.
They have like a maybe smaller bucket I'm thinking, say, half a gallon. And the second valve thing touches chlorine, it's turning to exactly what we've been seeing.
But it's crystal clear, almost 800 gallons a minute, it's coming out crystal clear.
Yeah, once you go through everything and there's a look, 15, I don't know, maybe 150 gallon tub that they've got, then you could fill right out of it drinking. Beautiful.
Again, the Doris Drive retaining wall, we're gonna throw that in with the Worcester Street project. Probably won't have that on the agenda anymore because it's just not important to you guys at this point. And we're gonna bid both the two projects separately, the East Street and Worcester Street. I think we'll just get better bids by doing that. We keep because of the cost of the projects, if we keep them below the 20 million or 15 million, more contractors are eligible to bid on those projects. If we combine them, then it cuts it down to only like 3 different bidders. So that happened in Westford, and they had good results with that by splitting them up.
Matt, do we need to hire OPMs for these projects?
Yeah, they don't call it an OPM. They got another fancy word for it, but yes, and that's about a $40,000 nugget per building.
Right.
It's an overseer of the overseers of the overseers.
Right, I understand, yeah.
But that's a state requirement especially on the SRF funds.
Right.
Then the last thing that came up, Dave had an application for a group home over on Pine Street or Green Street, whatever you call that over there.
Yeah, whatever.
Great.
It's actually in Shrewsbury. It's in that part of Shrewsbury that we feed water. We didn't really have a definition in our rules and regulations for group homes. So I took the language out of the state building code. I might get a teacher and the commissioner there to make sure I got the right language. But that would be the definition. And then we'd have a link to our fee table on what the fee would be. So and basically like a vote to have that included into our rules and regulations.
Will be met with no.
Make a motion, we accept, that we accept the definition for a group home as proposed.
Second.
Favor? Aye, mine.
Before Matt finishes, question, Matt. Do we have another auxiliary site or well besides the high school?
There is a site off of Pleasant Street near the power lines that we found. It is in the floodplain. Initial tests showed the same VOCs that are in Follette Street. It is in the floodplain, so it had its own obstacles, but yes, there's a site down there, which I can show Dave and Adam when I get back this summer. That would be something way for the future. I mean, Trinity Ave is the golden child. We have huge capacity there and only approved for probably 1/10 of what we can pump out of that. So
This confirmed with the continued growth of the town.
Yeah.
Road sweeping.
Not wanting to take at the high school baseball field.
Yeah.
Unless we have to, but
When we can get them through the next 3 or 4 years, get these PFAS plants up and running, we should be good.
That is
yeah,
true.
it should be good.
Yep.
Yeah, well.
Be back to being able to give people water.
We're still we're a waste of development Grafton if you want. But,
Well, I remember Matt talked about, a piece of land up off of Weston Street. By first refusal and stuff like that, and now they're building houses.
Yeah,
That didn't
that
go.
was no, and that was going to be a very difficult site. And even if we did the pump tip, drilled the well and everything, I don't know if we would have had the capacity that they talked about. So
Nice to know we have Trinity that'll be coming online at some point. It's like you said, we're allowed to pump about 1/10 of the total capacity of that thing.
yeah, I mean it's approval is like 9 million gallons a day, and we're only approved for 1. So
Well, that helps a little bit.
Yeah.
That goes.
Yeah, we finished it up to 800 gallons a minute and the well levels dropped like a half a foot.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Started screaming.
That's all I got. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Matt. Superintendent's report.
Just a quick update on East Street. We did finally get the high lift pump back, the electric motor pump. So that's up and running. We do have to have the other one looked at by an electrician making some noises. But not surprising, the two two motors are basically the same age. Also about having the number 3 well pulled, the company that does the work for us, their truck is down that does the surging. He's hoping to have it back up and running and hopefully get out here either next week or the week after. Once again, he originally told me it was like a 7 to 10 day working business day job to do, from taking it out, surging it, cleaning the pump, and then putting everything back together, testing it, all that. So I have in contact with them pretty much once, twice a week. Keep on them, tell them this is we need that done ASAP. So as soon as I know more, so everybody posted. Our ASR went out, CCR went out. This is what we had for their consumer confidence report. If you guys want to take a look at it. They're all out to everybody, but they're out at the library here. There's a link, obviously, that is on our website, and we sent the link out on with everybody's bill to check out the consumer confidence report on our website. If anybody wants to look at it. Mary's retirement, we already talked about that. The repairs to the people's lawns on Millbury Street and the condos behind those houses has been done. Pretty good. We haven't had anybody complain, so I think we're in the clear there. The non-disclosure agreement, we were supposed to talk about this last month. So this is something that we want to put in the rules and regulations, Melissa, is that correct?
For personnel, yeah.
Personnel rules and regulations. Just for anybody coming on, sign, look, read over and acknowledge that they've all.
It's recommended by the DP, Cybersecurity Act.
We just need a vote. If you guys are okay with this, for that personnel rules and regs.
Motion so made. Second. Okay, right? All right. Pretty boilerplate, then. Yeah. I don't think you have this ball.
And then you're gonna state to close the warrant. You guys have, Up to it's the budget thing. Price of election is, well, we think, even if it's, gets.
I don't know how I don't know if you guys do it, but most of the municipalities are looking for bigger budgets. What did healthcare do to us?
Well,
So we ended up sticking with my, we had a plethora of options to go from to dropping like dental, to dropping vision, to going with others. And when it all came down, it was just easier to keep everything with Maya, and the price actually was there. Everybody went up.
Yeah, because most towns are looking at a 25% increase.
Yeah. Monster did a very good job with getting in contact with Maya, getting them, I know what their rates are going to look like, and get us a round number and throw what, June 1 and stuff like that. Talking with Matt and what people do use compared to what we don't use as our employees are and stuff, it did make sense to just keep everything where it is right now. So, all right.
Yeah. The last few years, we've used the deductible programs through the insurance carriers. And they've saved us up to $20,000 to $30,000 a year, depending upon, if we get through a year without our employees needing, to be reimbursed for deductibles. So that keeps our rates low. We've done that at least 3 years, maybe 4. A lot of communities are going that route. So you really can keep your costs down. So.
Yeah, I just know a lot of the towns in the area, the initials came in at like around 25%. And I know in Northborough, they're working
to get it down to 17 or something like that. When in previous years, it's typically been running, 3 to 8, somewhere in there. But for some reason this year, it just, the healthcare rates just went right through the roof. Yeah.
I mean, I compared to some other towns and, what their packages are. And unfortunately, I'll be polite, and the unions have really grasped at all the, benefits of every program, and that just drives their costs up. And then they can't renegotiate that with the union. So they're stuck with all these bennies that, are great for the employee, but it just sucks the budget dry. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I've always looked at it as trying to manage what the district needs and what the employee needs and come to an agreement in the middle. So,
Yeah.
I guess it works.
I'm just surprised to see the numbers come in as good as they look, considering, a lot of other departments are really having a hard time with it.
Thank you.
You guys are good with the warrant. I see one of them, 3 signatures. If that's that arranged, we need to vote to close it.
Yes.
Yeah, I make a motion that we close the warrant. We got ready about.
Oh, it's already started.
Yeah, are you second it? About something. No other further discussion on it? There isn't any, and, all in favor? Aye.
And there was obviously no nomination papers or petitions submitted. So,
No, much appreciated. That's the biggest piece I need to. Very. So with that, actually, it goes right into mine. So now the annual report, it's going to get sent off to the printers. Got everybody's letters from this past year and the budget from the past year, that what's going to happen for the following year. It's all looking good to get to do all that. We'll post everything that needs to be posted at the post office this years and center and here. Is that obviously our meeting when it got moved up is the 29th. We do have the election for Mike's seat right now at 3:15 to 5:15, and they're as of right now the only one I have for nomination papers. And then at 5:30 will be the actual meeting. So that's all I had for what's going on, because doing what?
Thanks. Thanks, Adam. Old business, new lawn. What is a new lawn?
So we talked about it briefly. You said to get contact some people in the trade. So I contacted 2 people that I know that do landscaping. They pretty much been around about said the same thing. Somebody puts a lawn in September, October. It's going to take you the next season to get it established. So, and as we have it now, they can only water in May and September anyway. So if you give them a year, that gives them 2 months they can water, which I don't think is outrageous. I mean, I did talk to the DEP because there were other questions we'll go forward about the power washing. So I asked their opinion on that and everything else. And basically what they told me is that because we use the DEP's scale for a non-essential outdoor watering thing. So that's what you need to implement. You can make it more stringent. We could say no outside watering. We could say not in May, not in September. We could say no hand watering. But that's what the DEP figures is reasonable. But we can make it more stringent. We just can't make it less stringent. So anyway, I just wanted to make, because people are already calling, can I throw a handful of grass seed on my lawn and call it a new lawn?
No.
So that's why I just wanted to say that the new lawn is something that has been put in less than or up to a year ago.
Right. Well, the other thing is, we've got a lot of, single family homes are one thing, but, also, the multifamilies that are coming in. I mean, there are requirements actually from like Concom and stuff that have the area stabilized with vegetation, which is grass. So, I think it's fair that we give them the year's worth of watering to get it where it needs to be. I don't mind being reasonable, but, you throw it on a handful of seed and you call it a new lawn.
And then we've had customers come in and say, well, instead of irrigating my whole lawn, can I just irrigate the front lawn? People people can see. You know, that's why these are all the
Yeah.
things we've been having to deal with. So we just want to make sure that everybody gets the same answer. That's all. And then 17 Seaver Farm, I tried to explain it as best I could in an email, but we were having issues with our email. When we got the website up and running, it did something to our emails for 4 days. And we did respond to our calls and emails on January 27th at 6:17 p.m., which is when our email was down.
Yeah.
So I know we voted last meeting to rescind his offer.
Mhm.
So we reached out to him and said that, because he got the letter saying that we rescinded his offer. He said, wait a minute. So we told him that he's still good to go with the offer. I just want you guys to reinstate that. And, if he doesn't come up with the payment by April 30th, that's what we talked about.
Since, we had an issue on our side and,
Yeah.
we got to show some good faith on that. We can reinstate our offer as previously stated. We have until the end of this month, which is April 30th,
Yes.
to come up with whatever he needs to come up with as payment. If that is not done, then it goes back to the original, like what we said. But I'm in agreement with that. I am too. So I make a motion on that we reinstate the previous offer, good until April 30th. And again, if it doesn't come to fruition, then we go back to the original bill. I second. All in favor? All right, so moved. And so with that, contact him like immediately, let him know, stop.
Yeah.
No.
Yep, no, I called him and informed him that
That way-
it would be voted on and that I would call him
Yeah.
again today.
That way he has plenty of time and plenty of notification.
Yep.
Under new business again, power washing during the water ban.
All right. So another issue that came up, I did talk to the DEP. The woman wasn't 100% sure herself. She said, the only thing you guys need to should consider is if you tell a business that power washes for a living,
They're out of business.
they're out of business, they could theoretically take you to court. And now
Yeah.
granted, anybody can sue anybody for anything at any time.
Right.
And in their rules and regs, it does say that if water is your core reason, like a car wash, you can't have a car wash without water, you can't power wash without water, that they are exempt from the ban. So once again, people like, can I power wash my house? Can I hire somebody to power wash my house? So we just wanted to have it so everybody's under the same thing. Can we hire somebody that does this for a living to power wash our house versus Bob going out power washing?
So why don't you just ask this, though, and I'm just being devil's advocate on this. So you hire a company, they come in, they connect to your house because they need water.
Yeah.
Some do carry their own water, but it's very majority do, most don't.
Yeah.
Or do you just have the homeowner just power wash his house? It's not, my personal feeling is it's not like they're gonna power wash the house every day, like you're watering your lawn every day.
You do it once every year, or 2 years, 3 years,
Yeah.
depending.
Right. I get that, but I mean, if DEP has regulations of that, then I guess we can.
Well, that's the thing. They really didn't have anything about power washing. So that's why I brought it up to the woman. And she said, well, hemming and hawing. And she's, just remember, if you tell
It's
people.
covered in the DEP notice that we received.
Well, it's covered saying that you can't tell them they can't.
Huh?
That's all it is to say, you can't tell them they can't because then they'll.
Well, it says right here, non-essential outdoor water use that are subject to mandatory restrictions, washing of exterior building surfaces, parking lot
But
structures.
I'm saying if I hired you to do it, there's a difference.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah, because that falls under
It's
the
not-
other.
Well, there's a difference too. If I'm hiring you to do it, well, you don't own a company. I'm just gonna pay
No, no,
you
no.
$100. You know what I mean? It's gotta be an actual legit company.
Yeah.
I mean, meeting the core function of a business irrigation, a golf course, greens,
That's what it says.
planters. I mean, water is your livelihood, and I don't want to put anybody out of business,
Yeah,
but I do think that, most people hire a company like once a year, once every 2 years. I think what we want to be careful of is a homeowner going out with a pressure washer and doing their house every 3 weeks.
Or their driveway.
Or doing their driveway or something like that. Yeah, I've seen them in their house. I don't suppose there's a way to contact the pressure washing businesses to say, can you limit it to once a year?
You can't dictate that.
I don't think I can dictate that. But
Yeah, I mean, usually like Lordvale condos, every once in a while, they'll call us and say, can you set up a meter on a hydrant because the power washing company, and they wind up doing 60 condos or something like
The
that.
whole complex,
right.
Takes
Yeah.
up two.
I mean, you could do it by permit, if somebody wanted to do it, but it just gets, or you just let it lie, and does it create really an issue? And, I mean, the same thing came up when they first did non-essential water, all these fundraisers with car washes. So DEP actually said, the Girl Scouts can do a car wash at Savers Bank, and that's an allowed use. And so everybody's driving by watching, people wash their cars. And then they say, well, how come I can't wash my car in the driveway? And we just say, well, DEP said it was okay. I mean, it's just
Fundraising, they need water, they're fundraising.
So I'm gonna be devil's advocate again, right? Brought this up to date. That homeowner goes out there with his bucket of soap and his brush and his garden hose and starts washing his house.
I don't think it's rampant, and that's
Well, I'm just, this
so if-
all type of things that are.
Like I said,
I'm gonna go with how many of our customers actually do that. And are we gonna sit there and police that like on a Saturday, Sunday when they have those days off? So again, me personally, I don't really see an issue with the power washing part of it. But that's me personally. I do obviously see an issue with line irrigation because it's every day, it's constant, it's a huge tax on our system. It kills me when I drive by a house at 2 PM if they're watering their lawn. It's just like, oh my God, I can't believe this.
Yeah.
But I mean, and
the question is, who's gonna monitor to see that this is being done?
Well, that's
right,
Yeah,
right.
it's almost impossible.
Well, and like I said, I'm not trying to
You're
get
gonna
more
get more
hard
time.
at,
Right,
but
and I-
these are the questions we're gonna
I
get
know.
100 a day of at the office once this goes in, once, nice weather gets here.
Right.
I just want to know what we're telling people.
I'm with you when it comes to the everyday stuff. Your irrigation, if people watering their lawn every single day, to me, you're gonna get people coming in, probably or emails or something or phone
We're
calls.
gonna get calls. Hey, my neighbor's.
And my neighbor's power washing. I'm gonna go there, but did they power wash it Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday? Did they turn the irrigation on all the day?
Neighbors
Yeah.
wash their cars
That's-
every Monday. It's like, we're gonna get all these calls.
Or you're filling up, we have a dry summer. The swimming pools start to drop. Now you're adding 4 inches of water to the swimming pool.
Yeah.
I will.
No, I said, it's a slippery slope. It's new to us
Yeah.
because we've never had this before. But I just trying to, get ahead of some of these questions.
Should we work up an FAQ sheet for something like this? So if somebody does have questions, maybe they're, question.
Or like that, we just don't do anything for now and just see if it doesn't become, if it's like, exactly a dozen people over the course of the summer are power washing their house once.
Yeah.
Not gonna be an issue.
If you even added the amount of water for power washing, however many people power wash their house this summer to the amount of water being used for irrigation. It's insurmountable.
oh, I agree with you.
But do we, it's like these, two of these companies that are gonna come, because Lordville, every year they want to power wash all those units.
Mhm.
Now that's a company doing it that does power washing.
Right.
But do we really want them doing that? Probably not, but we really can't say no, so.
And I don't want to be responsible for putting somebody out.
No, I agree. And that's why I said, I'm not trying to be a hard ass. I just wanted.
This is more for the homeowners doing it themselves than it is, I think.
We can't restrict it. All we can ask them is, all right now, can you put it off a bit? But I mean, you can't say no. So
If they call and ask, say you're really not supposed to,
If it's
but
restricted and they are caught and identified breaking the restriction, I think that we can, in fact, put a penalty, a financial penalty on.
Well, we've already kind of established that.
Get, you know, the water.
Yeah. And the fact is, the DEP probably has some guidance they can give you on that. And just establish it, so if we have restrictions and we have people complaining about their neighbors. But, you know, Deputy Dog here is not gonna be riding around.
Unless you guys want to pay us to do it, and we operate, and I'm pretty sure that doesn't want to be
But
happening.
I mean, it's
you
in
know?
our, it's in the rules and regs, so, you know, it's people call and ask, we say, you know, you're not supposed to do it. Like you said, people are gonna do it anyway, and, yeah, we go out and tell them not to.
Hey, can you check with DEP?
I already have, Ken, I've called them on.
Yeah.
Okay, and see if there's, some kind of language as far as more financial.
I mean, you could do it on a case, you know, you could use the word, you know, misuse of, you know, hand watering or power washing, or I'm looking for another word there, you know, vagrant, is that a word? You know, use of
Later.
blatant, that's the word I'm looking for. Because, you know, hand watering your lawn is allowed. You can stand out there with your hose. So that's going to use more water than any power wash is going to use on his house. I mean, if you use 10 gallons to wash the side of the house,
It's a matter of like,
use some-
okay, they did it Monday, and then the following Monday, and the following Monday, then, okay, then we write a letter being like, listen, we're really asking if you could, you know, because I don't think a house needs to be washed.
Yeah.
Especially, and maybe we'll get lucky and we get a lot of rain, and let's hope for that for the next 3 years, you know?
No, it's just, you know, for example, you know, a couple of years ago, I power washed my shortboard. I looked at it again, it doesn't need it. So it's not like I'm gonna go out there and power wash it again.
I washed my house last year too.
It's the same thing, it does not need it. So I can't really see that like the power washing part of it is gonna tax us that much unless every single house in the town does it all on the side. Yeah, which made it a big deal. Which I doubt that's gonna happen.
And again, how many people are gonna be power washing that Adam can go down and verify the fact? But you have to have the regulation.
Right. I mean, my whole big thing is that if, you know, if the phone call comes in, you know, I like advise them what the rules and regulations are.
Yeah.
And then,
Yeah.
you know, use your best judgment.
I mean, exactly that. Somebody calls where my neighbor.
What's the address? The neighbors.
Let me get that address 2-3 times, then we make some phone calls and stuff. It's just happening once.
Again, the biggest thing is the lawn watering for us.
I agree.
Yeah, that's the big kind. Unfortunately, I know some people love their lawns beyond belief. But that is the piece that really puts a lot of pressure on.
Well, I mean, even right here, it just says, you know, wash of exterior building is solid.
All right.
Unless
Moving on.
applies to stuff, putting paint in, oh, you can power wash.
Right. So, I mean,
Anyway,
Yeah, what if someone's paying the house? They're not gonna let them.
That's allowed.
Right, I mean, exactly that. I heard you say pay, there wasn't.
so anyway, we'll just
There's
have
gotta
to
be
refer to
some,
the rules and regulations.
we're
It's up to
not,
Dave's discretion.
send all the calls to him.
Yep. Here's his home number.
Really,
just such a tough.
I mean, if you're sitting there and you're power washing your house and the next thing you know, you're taking your car and you're taking, you know, your neighbor's car, you're creating that Girl Scout, you know, car wash situation. Completely shut it off. You know, that's all. We need to go up there nicely, please, you know.
Was we the day we rolled up to the Girl Scout car wash when they were doing $5? It rolled up in the tower. No, that's a joke.
Yeah. It's actually.
Well, and the other thing too is that, you know, on these car washes too, like, you know, the Girl Scout car washes and all that, every hose is running. Exactly. They should really.
Spraying each other.
Well, the good news with that is they're usually advertising, right? Specifically, but the Girl Scouts, the high school does things like that as well. So when those are advertised, there's no reason why we couldn't have actually gone over there and be like, you know, put a nozzle, please. Yeah, and I know the student council actually, anyways, in the Grafton High School easily said, hey guys, listen, please do your fundraising, do whatever you need to do, but be conservative at the same time.
Right, yeah.
That's all we're asking. And I don't think that's much. No, I mean, Christ, we'll go buy them the nozzle.
Yeah. I'm just, you know, that's huge. Just letting a hose run or just, you know, use it when you need it. Right. That's
Should even ask that. You should be like put nozzle on these things for everything. That shouldn't even probably be about it. Because exactly that. Someone's going, I don't feel like holding this anymore. You know, if I put it here on top of this rock, it's just going to go.
I'm sorry, real quick, to something that Matt said about permitting. Yeah. Maybe doing something like a permitting, because then we can give them, when they do their permitting to wash their house, give them, you know, well, you don't want to, you shouldn't be utilizing the water for playing around or, you know, unnecessary usage. And then they can't say they didn't know.
I'm 100% for that. The only hard part is going to be is no one's going to think of the permit to go power wash their yard. I just think, I agree that if that happened, it'd be great. To be able to give information right then and there. But, you know, if you're building a house or you're building a deck or something like that, you need a permit, but just wash your house. There's no permits are needed.
Well, I'm just saying, due to the water ban, we're requesting to be notified so that people have the proper knowledge of what we're requesting them to do. Because if they have never had to think about it prior, how is the one that's running that Girl Scout necessarily supposed to know that they're supposed to be monitoring the girls from leaving the house on?
How difficult.
I understand.
The front office to deal with that. You know, because I mean.
We're already getting calls about my neighbor's going to irrigate. We're already getting, so if we have something that we can say, we told them and they're aware, you know, it might actually help.
Stupid question. Can I set up a sprinkler so the little kids can run through it? No.
I already had that question, literally.
Fortunately, I made them.
But like yourself, you know, we have.
But you can hold the hose and spray it.
Yes, yeah, actually, yeah.
And that
That's
is
easy.
actually what we told them.
That's exactly.
It is a sprinkler.
Yes.
Yeah.
And well, one more, I'm just having the kids have fun and you're watering a lot of things.
Well, it's like I said, the FAQ thing, you know, because you guys are answering these questions. You know, I mean.
February 1st was the first call.
Okay.
It was cold, and I'm
Might
thinking,
save you guys a little bit of vocal cord exercise.
yeah.
Next day, okay.
Yeah, so the only other thing is that, Adam said the annual meeting, the 29th, voting 3:15, 5:15. Meeting itself starts at 5:30. We are having a commissioners meeting at 5:15 for OPEB. Yep. And then the next monthly meeting is Wednesday, May 14th.
We'll join.
Second.
Hi, something. Can I ask you a quick question? Sure. I'm Brian Bonner, 21 Snow Road. A couple of weeks ago, the Snow Road water was pretty brown. I don't know if there was a reason for that. There were like 3 instances, like 3 days apart, like a Thursday, Friday, and then a Sunday, and then was there a Tuesday?
Well, we had to shut down, we shut down a great fire. And they fixed,
You talked
oh,
about
Mill
pumps.
Street. They had to shut Mill Street down twice. I think that was last week. 2 separate leaks that we had to replace the corporations in the main, so we had to shut them down. So whenever we shut something down, we have to fill the main back up again. It tends to stir up the water. Other than that, to our knowledge, there's nothing going on that would cause that.
Did we get any calls on those, Melissa, in the office?
We get a Meadow Lane call.
I think 1 or 2.
But nothing on the Snow Road.
No, not.
So my next question is, are you notified of some of these incidents? I mean, can you tell that this stuff is happening, or should I be picking up the phone and?
Oh, no, we have
Go down the
residents to
street.
call and we knew
Yeah.
it when we get the phone call.
Yeah.
We constantly note it. So
It was
that,
a Friday at like 5 o'clock, you guys aren't even gonna be
Yeah.
here.
No, you're right.
yeah, but when you
But-
leave a message, we note the time and day and everything so that then when we do come in the next morning, we can check with the operators, because then it could be a house specific issue. If there is an issue, we can send an operator out.
We encourage all our users to call.
any issue. And, all right, so.
Yeah, even if it's after hours,
Yeah.
a message on the answer machine, your address, time.
Also, to your day, because I know what I do, because they're all roads, you know, you're nothing for us, sir. And I'll ask Dave, hey, Dave, have we got any call? Nope. And then you go to Facebook and everybody's complaining about something, you know, and it drives us nuts. Especially when they don't call. Okay, call here first. Okay, let us know.
Because you could call, and if you are calling in the after hours, you'll get a different voicemail.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll get who to call, whoever is on call, you'll call that pager. And then we might have known, hey, we're out at a water main break. That's your answer. Or, hey, yes, we shut down a treatment plant. We'll be able to most likely answer something like that for you. But if not, then we just have no idea. All right. Unfortunately, we can't be inside everybody's home every day.
So I'm gonna pick on your new website, because the old website used to be able to open it up and it would tell you if it was a water main break or we replaced a pump at East Street or whatever. I haven't seen any of those notifications on.
So we've been putting them up at the top with it. Right now it says about the bills that just went out. You know, for April 1st, but when we did have the water main break, we did post. So I'm posting on whatever I post on Facebook, I post on, it's just as soon as it's resolved, we go back to what was originally posted on that section.
Do we have a water main break tab that we can kind of just list it? Maybe we
Yeah, I can create one.
we can
Yeah.
do something to that extent. That way, so we'll flash it across going on right now. And then there'll be a tab that we could create to say, hey, we have one this date, locations. That way, if you don't just show a pattern or something and stuff like that, because yes, we did post things and we'll make it flash, but then we do want to get the bills out flashing, people come on. So that banner at the top does change on
Yeah.
a daily basis, if not, every other day basis.
I didn't see anything in like 2 weeks ago when the water was brown up there, so.
Yeah.
So we probably had no issues going on.
Yeah, it was
That,
probably,
And again,
If somebody could have used the hydrant, somebody.
and if nobody called us, okay, we can't investigate it. So we can't post it.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, if you call on a Friday, we come in Monday, we can ask the person on call, what happened Friday night that could have caused this problem,
Yeah.
Somebody tells us a month ago, I had brown water, I think it was on a Friday, there's no way we're gonna be able to figure that out.
I mean, my wife and I started marking the calendar.
Yeah, but yeah, just call, leave a message.
Please.
Or email, if you want to email, then customer service,
Just email.
email.
Be more frequent. I've been here, been in town for 35 years, last 5 years. So we're seeing a lot of brown water, and especially the last 2 years. And it's kind of frustrating. You go to take a shower and it's brown, and then you realize, it just put in a load of laundry, and, my dishwasher's running, and all this crap is around my dishes and my clothes. And
Like you said,
I know
we got all this stuff going on to try to move forward.
Yeah, I know you're limited to what you can do, but
Eventually,
I'll just make sure that I make a phone call.
yeah.
Because we've been trying to get that.
Do
right
not
out.
hesitate.
phone call, email, however you want to get. in
I've
touch.
been here silent before, but just more people, the more customers
More
call.
information.
I know they want to answer the phone, every second, but the more information we get, the better off we can be for our customers.
That's fine. Okay, thank you. You're welcome.
And with that, make a motion to adjourn. Second, all in favor? Aye. All right.
Take care.